I like sales and marketing and go-to-market. I have two boys. So if you said, which one do you like better? I love them both, and I love them both for different reasons. And I think that translates to I love sales and I love marketing for different reasons.
He started with nothing but ambition. He's been in the rooms where billion-dollar decisions were made and where the stakes were life-changing. Every win, every loss, every scar built the leader you'll hear from today. This is Rob Giglio, and this conversation will make you rethink the way you play the game.
What are some of the key sort of leadership lessons that you lean into as you've grown in your career over the years?
Well, I hire for three things. The first one is like how bright the bulb burns, but not necessarily like how smart someone is. I look for incredible results orientation, the ability to communicate well, the ability to distill a vision.
What do you think your personal X factor is?
It's something my dad has said since I was a young child. The most worthy deed helps someone else succeed.
Rob, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm happy to be here.
I have been looking forward to this conversation. First off, I have to say, like, stalking your LinkedIn profile, amazing. So we've got art.com, we've got HubSpot, we've got DocuSign, and now Canva. Like, that's a pretty impressive resume. Like, how does that all happen?
Probably accidentally.
I think there's a little more strategy.
Yeah. Well, maybe what it is I love brands that focus on end users and consumers. Mm-hmm. So that's probably one of the things that those brands have in common. Even B2B brands focus on end users and end customers.
Okay.
So I think I like that. Since I got into the tech space, I love it. And I love sort of how flexible technology is to make things happen for people. So that's probably another thing. Yeah, I mean, you could get like deeper psychologically, I'm sure, but I just like I like sales and marketing and go-to-market roles.
Yes.
I like a lot of data.
Okay.
And yet I like a lot of art. So I think if you put art and science together, that's great marketing. If you focus on end users, that's a lot of scale. That's a chance to like move the needle. If you make B2B feel like consumer, you talk to real people about real things.
Okay.
So maybe that's like it in the nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like how you're starting to weave that all together. So what drew you to marketing?
Yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a marketer or as a salesperson?
That's actually a fantastic question. I was asked one time, I was interviewing for a role, and the person who was interviewing me said, "Are you a salesperson or a marketer? I can't figure it out."
Yeah.
And I think in the moment I lied and I said, "I'm a salesperson." And I nodded vigorously because it was a sales role. But I think the reality is I like them both. Like, it's like, I like them for different reasons. It's like, I have two boys. So if you said, which one do you like better? I love them both. I really do. And I love them both for different reasons. And I think that translates to I love sales and I love marketing for different reasons.
That's great. I like the way of like children, right?
Yeah.
Like you love them both.
Yeah.
Different ways, different times,
Totally.
for different reasons. So I think that's a great metaphor to look at that. So let's start with sort of art.com.
Okay.
So that sort of creative, artistic side of sort of marketing and thinking about brand. What lessons in looking back at your role and sort of that go-to-market strategy did you take from your time with art.com?
Yeah. I learned a lot of lessons at art.com. Art.com was a very interesting company that grew really quickly and declined really quickly. I think the lessons that I learned there were maybe number one, be very thoughtful about who you work for. The people you work for really matter because in a small startup environment, you're literally with like your leadership team and the person that you work for hours upon hours per day. When you're in a larger organization, you're not like hands-on day to day, all day long with your direct boss in most cases.
Right.
So I think maybe one lesson was never forget, because I'd mostly work for really big companies, never forget how important thinking about the team that you're going to work with and work for matters a lot. That's one. Two, we focused intensely on understanding the customer. So like little known thing, there was not a lot of research in the wall decor art market. Like you couldn't find a TAM study, you couldn't find segmentation research. You didn't know, why did people buy this stuff? Like you could assume it, but you actually there was no data in the industry.
Really?
And we conducted a pretty massive study to try to understand the segmentation of the category.
And what did that look like at that time?
It was a quantifiable segmentation study based on attitudes and behaviors. So it was a big research project. And essentially, we validated many of the things we believed, but we didn't know what segments were which size. And so some simple things were, there's a batch of consumers, about like a third of the market, that literally don't care about the arts. All they care about is, does it match my decor?
Really?
And that was a really underappreciated thing in our category. The other thing is that there's this other group of customers, about a third of them, that could care less whether the art works, fits, matches any part of their decor whatsoever. They're passionate about the artist and the artist's story, and they buy the art because of the artist, less because of the piece. And that's like literally 60% of the market is made up of people who think like that. And then the middle is like, oh, I'm filling a place, I have an empty wall, I just moved into my dormitory, I'm buying a poster. Like it was all over the place. So understanding the customer, understanding what drives them, what their motivators are, and how big there are of each of them.
Yes.
Critically important. I think I knew it because I came out of consumer packaged goods.
Yeah.
But to bring it home in a non-traditional category was a great lesson.
Yeah, fascinating. And then I'm assuming then the messaging and the vehicles of delivering the messaging to each of those segments became what the team started to work on.
Exactly. If you can figure out based on expressed attitudes or interest, which kind of customer you're talking to, then the messaging and marketing you deliver to that customer goes either in one direction or another. You're either talking about like how great this will match your decor, and you'll merchandise product based on decor style, or you go the other direction, which is to tell a story about the artist. And it changed dramatically how we thought about merchandising and marketing the product.
Interesting.
Same exact piece of art.
Yeah.
You could talk about fitting in the decor, or you could talk about the story of the artist. Like Van Gogh's Starry Night is a great example. Like you can either talk about how it works with blues and greens, or you can talk about Van Gogh and his incredible life.
Great example. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's then move on to HubSpot. So HubSpot as a marketer, I mean, changed for me running a marketing team so much of what we did as a marketing team, and kind of inbound marketing and how we thought about lead generation and top of the funnel and sort of all of those things. So what was it like kind of moving into that world and integrating kind of all of those things for us as end users, as marketers, and being sort of your customers?
Yeah. Well, the thing I liked most about that, not just the company, but the role in the company, was that probably for the first time in my entire career, I was marketing and messaging and selling to and engaging with people just like me.
Yeah,
like they were
marketers, right?
They were literally go-to-market people, whether they were in the sales org or they were in sales ops, and they were struggling with how to like manage data, or they were, in marketing and thinking about campaigns. So the best part of it was I really understood the psyche of the profession. So that helped a lot. I think the other thing is that HubSpot's a really, really great product, and it's really well-run company and a lot of amazing people. So it was a chance to like drop into an organization that was really highly functioning. And the way we thought about doing marketing ourselves and the way we thought about selling ourselves was very elevated. We weren't learning the ropes for the first time. Like we were organized well. And so in those scenarios, like I learned more from the people that I was working with probably than any other time in my career. So it was great. It was a great place to be. And I hope I added a lot of value there, but in particular, I got a lot of value.
Yeah. How was it different moving from that sort of startup culture that you had at art.com to a much more mature culture at the time when you think of HubSpot when you joined that organization? How did your leadership style change moving from sort of those different chapters in those companies?
Yeah. Well, I think if anything, I became more hands-on. Be like the smaller the company you're in, the more hands-on you need to be. And I think I moved from really big companies. I worked for Procter & Gamble as an example of my first company, which is a massive global organization. And moving to something that was like several hundred people, you're hands-on everything. Like you're like literally in the weeds. And I think that helped. I think that really helped because when I got to HubSpot, I think I was able to be involved in the details and I understood the details and that helped to understand the way we were working. And ideally, I was identifying opportunities from being that detailed. But at the same time, all my training was bigger companies. So maybe it was, it also allowed me to scale back.
Okay, interesting. So I want to take you through that sort of arc of art.com and then sort of HubSpot, which is kind of like sexy marketing, creative, and then sort of the next stop at DocuSign, which is near and dear to the real estate industry. We love our like electronic signatures, but a very practical, functional sort of, tool that we use. How does a sort of creative, go-to-market, strategic thinker move in an organization like that?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's sort of interesting because if you think about a product like a DocuSign, in many ways, certainly we had higher order benefits. Like we had emotional benefits. Like there's the security and confidence kind of benefits that came along with a product like DocuSign. But when you really think about DocuSign, the features are the benefits. It's fast, easy electronic signature.
Yes.
That's the basic features.
Yes.
And that's why you're picking it, because you want to have a efficient signature solution.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very functional. It's like you're selling a very functional product, which in a lot of ways is easier than trying to sell something that's heavily commoditized. And you're really resting on the emotional benefits of the brand, not the functional benefits of the brand, because as a result, like all the other products in the category are commodity. But I think DocuSign did a very good job, the leadership team and the team that I was working with in marketing, of elevating the DocuSign brand into something more than just a purely functional product. And that was the big priority. In terms of like how we did it, we actually spent a lot of time on user experience, like the browsing, buying, using, growing, because it was very much a product-led growth, PLG motion. We spent a ton of time really obsessing on the customer experience, which again, when you think about like how to do great marketing, it's all about the customer.
Yes.
And it's all about the customer experience. So those were the top priorities.
Fascinating. Okay. Well, let's go to current day.
Yes. Canva.
Canva. We love Canva. I mean, we work closely together.
Canva loves EXP. Thank you.
Yes. Great. Yes, we certainly do. Like, how much fun are you having at Canva?
It's the most fun job. I maybe had like one or two like jobs when I was in like high school or something that were like easy and fun. This, from a professional standpoint, is the funnest job at the funnest company with the funnest bunch of people.
Tell us more about that, because we know about Canva as a product. I think the world is learning, about Canva. But tell us like what it's like to work. Tell us about Canva culture.
Yeah.
And tell us, how does Canva think about creating a culture for its employees?
Yeah. It's hard to put into words. It's hard to describe. Like there's a sort of like vibe. We call it vibe. There's a vibe that exists.
There is a vibe.
There's definitely, you've met a lot of Canvanauts, and so you kind of get it. I have to say that it comes from our founders. It comes from, we have three main founders. Mel and Cliff are married. Mel and Cliff, Mel is like the product visionary. Cliff is like the operational, like, we're going to get this done. Nothing is impossible. We can achieve anything. Spirit leader. And then Cam is the technologist who's been behind the scenes thinking about how do we build a product like this. And between the three of them, you create this like really well-balanced three-legged stool. Like it really works. There is a great balance. And if you think about like what drives our values and our culture, it's like we have this thing that's called a two-step mission. And the mission like goes like a flywheel. It starts with, we want to be the biggest, most valuable company we possibly can be, so that we can do as much good as we possibly can. And
That's amazing.
And the two work together. Like we don't want to do a little bit of good.
Yeah.
Because if you do a little bit of good, like you've fallen short. Like you could have done a lot more good. And so if you want to do a lot of good, you better be really big. So how do you get really big? Well, you do more great things for customers so that they love you. So that like it literally just flywheels itself. And our sort of vision, if you will, for the company is to empower the world to design. And so it's a lofty, lofty goal. So you start with a really massive goal. You set these crazy big goals, and then you drive hard to try to achieve them. And if you achieve them, it allows you to actually spin the flywheel of being big, doing good, being big, doing good. So that kind of sets the tone. I think we work off the idea that we don't say this a lot, but it's like in the culture that we take our work really seriously, but we do not take ourselves very seriously.
I love that.
So there is a recruiting process of just like trying to assess the people that we're hiring to gauge, are they serious? Are they committed? Are they like experts in their discipline?
Yeah.
But at the same time, do they have a human side that's fun loving, that cares about other people, that wants to do great work, but at the same time, not be hard to work with.
Not take yourself too
Not
seriously.
take themselves too seriously. So I think we're really lucky that just keeps going. I think we go out of our way in our hiring process to make sure we're looking for people that have those skills.
You have employees all around the world at this
all
point.
around the world. Yeah, it's a little over 5,000 employees around the world. We're in major like big hubs in the United States. Here, our biggest hub is in Austin, Texas. And speaking of like vibe, like anybody who's ever been to Austin knows like
There's a vibe.
there's a vibe that's like that kind of crazy place, and it's just appropriate that that's where we'd be.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could talk for a long time about it, but you started me by saying, how are you having tons of fun, and what's that all about? We are really trying hard to grow our enterprise business. We're working hard on making a great product for businesses like yours and others. We set really aggressive goals. I think we've been fortunate. We've achieved them. We know there will come a time where we set such a big goal that we don't, but I don't think our attitude is then we set the wrong goal. It was like, oh, we did something that didn't allow us to achieve it. Let's go back and rework it and get better next time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are making tools for all of us as individuals that allow us to design, which is just incredible. So it's been fun to be a user and to continue to see the product grow as we as users are growing.
I'm glad to hear you've seen it change. We've put a lot of like in the last year, the amount of innovation that's come into the product, mainly from feedback from big businesses and individual users. That feedback funnels into our product development cycle, and we close the loop on all these great ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the key sort of leadership lessons that you lean into as you've grown in your career over the years?
Yeah. Well, I hire for three things.
Okay.
And I do that because those are leadership attributes that I try to deploy. And so I try to look for those things in other people because I want them to help me be better at those things. The first one is something that I call wattage.
Okay.
Which is like how bright the bulb burns, but not necessarily like how smart someone is. Like it's not like an IQ test. And oftentimes you can have someone who thinks really hard, who may not be the smartest person in the room, but they're thinking hard about the problems. And it's that like commitment to really think things through, to be curious in the work that they're tackling. That wattage piece is number one. I look for people with a lot of wattage.
Great. I love that.
So it's like, I don't care about your IQ. I care about what your output is and how hard you're going to think. The second thing is I look for incredible results orientation. So people that will stop at nothing to succeed. And typically like the way to find those people are they've persevered through something hard. And it's not always like, it doesn't need to be life traumatic perseverance. It could be like perseverance where they were struggling in a class and they found a way to like study harder or study differently or like work with a friend to just do better. Right. And so I appreciate that in people. And so I look for that. That's the second thing, is a level of results orientation. They stop at nothing. And then the last one is leadership, which I think is really kind of a murky like thing to look for as an attribute.
Yeah.
But what I look for in leadership is the ability to communicate well, the ability to distill an objective, to distill a vision, to create sort of the guidepost, or some people call it flag planting, like the ability to plant a flag. But the important thing about that in this leadership bundle is, can they figure out how to get there? and can they communicate to the team how to get there? So we always talk about, like in leadership, you hear like, oh, you either have flag planters or road builders. Road builders are operational and they get things done.
Yeah.
Flag planters just set the vision way out. I think it's reasonable to expect that you find a flag planter who knows how to build a road, and you get that person to lead. And so I look for those three things: wattage, results orientation, and leadership.
Love it. Love it. 3 things. That's great. All right. Got some lightning round questions for you here.
Hit.
So, favorite marketing campaign that you ever worked on?
Wow. There's so many interesting ones. I'm going to give a Canva one,
Okay.
although I didn't work on it as much as I wish I had, but
Yeah.
I was in such awe of how it went. Was Canva Create this last year was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I merely facilitated having a lot of enterprise customers come to it and helped to shape the way the agenda was for the enterprise customers. But our marketing team and experiential team that put on the entire event was mind-blowing. I think
Canva Create
Right?
events are amazing.
it was amazing. And so that's
Amazing.
probably the one that I've been the most like excited about and like sort of secondarily proud
Anyone
of.
watching this, go to a Canva Create event. Buy the ticket.
Yes.
Go.
Yes.
They
Definitely
are
go.
an experience.
It's really good. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the one that I was, and I wish I was more a part of it, but like just being a simple part of it was
They are so
incredible.
cool. The first one I went to was the year before last,
Which was amazing too.
which was amazing. Like when Mel walked out on stage in that white suit,
So good.
and I realized it was the entire leadership team.
Yeah.
My team it knows the story, but it inspired me and subsequently our team on what we did at our big event.
I've seen
that
video
year.
of your
You've
big
seen
event.
video.
And
You,
you
the,
guys
the
did an
whole
amazing
story.
job.
But yeah, it was amazing. All right. So, what's a brand other than Canva that you really admire right now that you think's doing a great job?
Well, I've always admired Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think whether you like their apparel or you like their shoes, like I think their style and the sort of like product they make has ebbs and flows. But one thing that doesn't have an ebb and flow is their like empowerment message.
Mm-hmm.
Like they for years have been about empowering the athlete in all of us.
Yes.
And that might have been like one of their taglines at some point. But their campaigns always live behind that messaging. And there's a particular ad campaign that, is old now, but I remember when it came out, and it was focused on girls in sports. And it was, if you let me play. I don't know if you remember that campaign, but the tagline played on, like, if you let me play, I will be more likely to. And it was a whole bunch of amazingly empowering things.
Yes.
And it has less to do with sport and more to do with what will come from empowering all athletes, but in particular young girls.
Yes.
I thought that was like
Yeah.
amazing, and they're still doing it. I mean,
They
their support of Caitlin Clark now
Yes.
is they're awesome.
Yeah, they do a great job for sure. If you had a piece of advice to give somebody who is looking to build their own personal brand, and in real estate, personal brand is very important.
Yep.
What piece of advice would that be?
Well, I think a lot of it is like let's think of it as 2 pillars. There's 2 pillars. And I think oftentimes people think about building a personal brand as just one pillar. And the one pillar that we would talk about is them. Like, who are they? What do they stand for? What do they believe in? What do they talk about? Where do they follow? What do they do? But and I think people can kind of get their heads around that. But the other pillar is you're usually building a brand for some sort of purpose. Like you don't just build a brand in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
You know this, you're a great marketer. You're building a brand for an end customer or an end user or someone that's going to like hear and understand and be motivated by your brand. And I think this part is always overlooked. And what we talk about in, old days when I worked in consumer packaged goods, whether it was Clorox or Procter & Gamble, we talked about building a bridge between the consumer and the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the advice that I would give to agents in particular, if they're building a brand, is yes, focus on your own brand, but spend time figuring out who the audience for your brand is. What do they care about? What motivates them? And create linkages between what you stand for and what they might care about, or what they care about and what you can deliver for them. And that building of the bridge between the product which is the brand,
Yeah.
and the buyer, which is the consumer or the person who needs to buy or sell real estate, that connection is like critically important.
Great advice. Great advice. And I agree. There's not enough time given to that second part.
Yeah.
That pillar.
Yeah, we just wander around. I mean, it happens in every industry. We wander around and say, I got this cool brand. Anybody want it? That's a really hard way to be a great marketer.
Yeah.
But if instead you say, I know this population of people are motivated by these things and are trying to solve these problems, and my brand can do that, well, now it's just a messaging challenge.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
All right.
I love this
Last
stuff.
question.
We could go all day. I love this
I know we could. Last question.
Okay.
And I know you got a heads up earlier in the day on this, so I know this answer is going to be amazing.
I feel like you're going to throw me one.
No. I call the podcast X Factor.
Yes.
What do you think your personal X Factor is?
I would love to believe. So maybe my personal X factor is I doubt myself a lot, and so I second guess, and so I'm never overly confident. I am confident, but I'm not hopefully ideally not overly confident.
I think they call that humble.
Thank you. I think I work off this idea that is, I don't own it. Like, it's something my dad has said since I was a young child. He always used to say this. Like, I would ask him about why he was doing something, and he'd say, well, Rob, the most worthy deed helps someone else succeed. And I never really understood that fully. And then as I got older, I could unpack it. And it's like, yeah, actually, he does live his life that way, where he is like focusing on like, how can I help other people? Because if I help other people, that's going to be great. And if secondary benefit comes to me later, okay, cool. But that's not my objective. My objective is to help other people. So I'd say my leadership stance is one of like a servant leader, that I really am interested in helping my team succeed. I want them to be successful. That's where I start. And I know that if they're successful, because we're all on the same team, we're going to win. Maybe the sports analogy would be, we watched a soccer game last night. Here we are in San Diego. We watched a soccer game last night. And in soccer, yeah, you might shoot the ball from far away from the goal, but if somebody's open near it, the very best thing you could do is pass. So the most exciting thing to do is make the pass, let them score, win the game for the team. So it's a team sport, not an individual sport.
Yeah.
So that might be a little weird of a metaphor, but like my X factor, I hope, is that people realize that I'm trying to help them succeed. And in so doing, they feel comfortable with the guidance that I give them, or the feedback that I give them, or the challenges that I give them. And so far it's been working. I hope it keeps working.
It's been working very well.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us today and sharing your X Factor with all of us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.